comes down. So this is the mouth, right? And then oral cavity, pharynx, esophagus, right? You got the lower esophageal sphincter, or the cardiac sphincter. Opens up into what?
Stomach.
The stomach. What's this guy called?
Mammary sphincter.
And it kind of comes down, right? This makes of this jejunum, the ileum, stuff like that. Colon comes out. Okay. So we got the pancreas and liver and all that stuff. But basically, what is in here? Chyme, right? Okay. What is chyme?
Chyme is the food we ate mixed with acid and fat.
Is there salivary amylase present?
Yes.
Is there acid present?
Yeah.
Because of who?
Because of the
What cells?
varietal cells.
Perfect. What about, is there pepsin present? What is pepsin? Do you remember pepsin? Where does pepsin come from?
Came from all of the hydrogen ions.
The hydrogen ions went and activated what cell?
The chief cell.
The chief cells. And the chief cells did what? They released,
Pepsinogen.
which turns into,
Pepsin.
which helps with,
The breakdown of the amino acids.
perfect, right? Does it do most of your breakdown or a little bit of the breakdown? So that's kind of tricky because only most of your digestion of everything happens in here. This just does like maybe 20%, and this does like 80%.
So it doesn't do a lot.
So this does like start protein breakdown, and also the acid will help break up protein, make peptide bonds and stuff. But the thing is it doesn't do a lot. It's not needed for protein digestion. If you didn't have any of that stuff, you could still digest your proteins and you'd be fine, right? But where are chief cells located?
In the stomach.
Perfect. So would you see pepsin in chyme?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would, right? Would it have a low or a high pH? A low pH, about what?
1 to 3 something.
1 to 3. Perfect. Okay. And then whatever you ate, like your little spaghetti or your SpaghettiOs or Cheerios, I don't know, whatever you're eating, right? So then it comes over here, right? And so this is full of acid, and your body is dealing with all this acid in here. So if you throw up, you lose a lot of hydrogen ions, which are acid, right? So if you lose all this acid, then that means that your pH, say the normal pH is 7.4, right? And anything this way is considered, and then this way is considered. Okay. The range though is what? 7.35 to. If it's in that range, is considered normal, right? So when you get this side of those range and that side of that range, then it's acidosis, alkalosis. So when you're looking at this, if somebody threw up a lot, they're going to lose a lot of hydrogen ions, and so you expect their pH to be in acidosis or alkalosis? Alkalosis, perfect. It's supposed to go that way, right? So 7.7. Does that make sense? And then they're going to be breathing faster or breathing slower? So, let's go about that again. So remember this equation? CO2 plus okay, so if these hydrogen ions, if you have less hydrogen ions, does that mean you have more of these guys floating around?
Yeah.
Because they're not buffering him and turning into this guy?
Yeah.
And then going that way. So that means that you're going to have high hydrogen ions. So you expect the bicarb, HCO3 minus. Normal is like 22 to 24. You would expect that to be high, so let's say 30, right? And so we're going to call this metabolic or respiratory alkalosis. Perfect. Metabolic alkalosis. Okay, now we're going to look at this, and do you think the CO2 is going to be high or low?
It's gonna be, we want to make it high.
So it can, yeah, because CO2 is a
Acid.
Acid, perfect. And so if we make it acid, it'll bring this that way. So normal is 40, right? Well, you want to know that, 40.
Yeah.
So what do you think it's going to be?
55.
55?
55.
Or whatever it's going to be. I think 35 to 45 is the range, but he'll do 40. So probably like 55-ish. Because you're trying to compensate. So is he hyperventilating or hypoventilating? Right, they pound it, owned it. Good job. Okay, so you're looking at this here. What comes in from the pancreas to deal with this low pH that comes in this acid? Secretin. S cells secrete secretin because of low pH, and then they go talk to the stomach and say what? And then they go talk to the pancreas, the Acini cells, to release what? Dude, you're freaking owning this stuff. H2O into here, right?
Mm-hmm.
When H2O goes into there, then that means what? Because you're gonna buffer the acid with HCO3, right? It's the bicarb, and so he'll cancel out. Wait. Okay, yeah. So if you have this low pH chyme coming in, normally, not in this person, but this low pH chyme coming in, it buffers that out, right? And so your small intestine is full of a lot of bicarb, right? And so the thing is, what does the person have in your story? The person has severe diarrhea. So is he going to be losing a lot of hydrogen ions or a lot of bicarbonate? Well, what's produced down here and what's produced up here? Remember, things aren't just like continuously flowing. This stops them. This is two different. This is the lower GI and it's the upper GI. What? Exactly, right? Diarrhea. Out this end, you lose a lot of bicarbonate because that's the other end. This is a whole different section of the GI tract. It's completely. I mean, they're connected, but they're completely separate. Upper GI, lower GI. So you look at that, you can say, okay, HCO3 minus. Okay, so now look at their pH, their things here. What do you think their pH should be, high or low? Low, 7.2 maybe? Okay, so that's acidosis or alkalosis? Acidosis. Okay, and what's the problem? Because it's on this side, right? So we say metabolic alkalosis. And, acidosis, I mean. HCO3 is high or low? Do you remember the numbers? 22 to 24. So let's say 17. Okay. So could that cause that number? Okay. And then what about CO2? What do you think's going to happen there? Yeah, so you're going to start to do what's normal? So maybe 35. I don't know. Yeah. That could be true. Okay. 33-ish, I don't know. It's around there, right? Just lower. So when I look at that, I'm going to say, okay, metabolic acidosis. And so you're looking at this, normally these numbers correlate. They're both going to be low or they're both going to be high. Just like a quick little hint.